Hello, hello. It's me, Arden Lee. I am back today with another video on how we can feel happier about our lives. First, if you have not done so already, I would love to invite you to subscribe to my channel. So go ahead and hit that button, and also let me know in the comments if there is a topic that you would like to see me address. On this channel, I love to talk about creating our realities from a place of empowerment, hacking our beliefs and our thoughts in order to change our lives. So that's pretty germane to today's topic, which is about how we can feel happier with our lives. And essentially, the answer that I have found to this is in calling all of our power back into what we focus on, right? So that sounds, it sounds like one of those things that is easier said than done. But I can assure you that it's absolutely possible. It just requires a pretty strong degree of mindfulness and zooming out and looking at what our lives really look like, right? So many of us are not happy with our lives because we are in situations that are not nourishing us, that are not feeding us. And I hate to break it to you, but this world that we live in, especially, this country in particular, and especially at this time that we are currently alive, the world we currently exist in, the environment we currently exist in, is generally not set up to make us happy, right? We're in a capitalist society. We are in some extremely competitive environments. We are seeing shifts toward less and less of the dynamic in which we can feel taken care of by the powers that be, right? It used to be that, especially in our parents' generation, it used to be that people could get a job at a company, and maybe that job didn't really fulfill them very much. Maybe it was just kind of what they were doing to pay the bills, but at least it paid the bills, right? A single income family could have one job that was fairly middle class and still afford to buy a home, and one person in that family could go to work and provide, and the other person could stay at home and maintain the household and raise the children and whatever. And I'm not going to say that that paradigm was perfect either, but at least it didn't carry the stresses of today's economy, in which we can't rely any longer on those things to take care of us. Even our Social Security, it looks like, is kind of a joke. I don't think I know anyone anymore who really is relying on Social Security to take care of them by the time that they need it. We don't really even know what that's going to look like when we get to that point in our lives, right? We don't even know what the world is going to look like at that point. Hopefully it's going to be better than what it is now. But essentially, we were told a lot of lies by our society about how we were going to be able to live and sustain ourselves, and those did not come true. The powers that be, did not provide for us in that way. We have shifted so much into a gig economy, right? We have things like Lyft and Uber and TaskRabbit and Postmates. So many jobs now, and so many people are consultants rather than working for a company. And on the one hand, that gives us some more freedom. But on the other hand, what that means is we have less caretaking, right? We don't have those parent companies saying, it's okay, as long as you work here and you do your job, we're going to provide for you, we're going to take care of you, we're going to give your family insurance, we're going to pay you a livable wage, and we're going to, unless you just do something egregious, we're probably not going to fire you or lay you off. You're going to get, a big gold watch at your, 25 years with the company or whatever, and then you're going to retire and you're going to go play golf. And we don't function like that anymore. Right now, companies are basically, the gig economy is essentially something that says, we're going to let you find your own work, but we're not going to be responsible for whether it actually sustains you. We're going to connect you with people who want to pay you, and we're going to take a percentage of that for having made that connection, but ultimately what you make is up to you. And that's a deviation from the norm of the last century. So it's really not a surprise that a lot of us are feeling stressed out, and a lot of us are feeling unhappy in trying to find our way forward in a world that is no longer taking care of us. And the nice thing about that, on the other hand, is that since the lies have been exposed, certainly I believe in advocating for a system that does take better care of us. I'm not one of those people who's like, well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever, because I believe that we should work toward advocating for a system that takes care of everybody and that is fair. And we should move away from so much of the greed that our society is currently ruled by. At the same time, I am not going to wait around for the world to change before I let myself be happy, before I give myself what I want and what I need to sustain myself. So in order to feel happier about your life, you have to have some faith that you can create a life that's going to sustain you. And essentially, the paradox that I want to bring some balance to is, on the one hand, we can't wait for, we want to put our happiness kind of outside our power and say, when I have X, Y, Z, when I have this, when I have that perfect relationship, when I have that perfect job, when I have whatever, then I will be happy. Until then, I'm going to be miserable. We can't do that either. And yet, we also must acknowledge the things that we need to sustain ourselves and everything that we want and everything that we deserve. The paradox between these two things is that when we are putting our power outside of us, when we say, I'm going to be happy when I have that thing, when I do that, so often, at least in my experience throughout the course of my life, when I did that, it didn't work for me. I thought, I thought that that working to be worthy of that perfect relationship or that good job or whatever meant that I would be happy, and unfortunately that was not the case. A lot of my relationships during that time were toxic, and a lot of my work environments were also toxic, and so feeling like I was working hard and working toward that, but ignoring my inner state really didn't work out for me. So what I want to encourage you to do is to find that happiness in creating that path forward and in really listening to your body and saying, okay, when do I actually feel happy? When in my life do I feel happy? Not just like what's going to look good on paper if I get into that relationship that looks perfect, or I have that cushy job that makes me look cool, right? But what are the things that actually make me happy now in the moment? What are those moments that I feel happy? What are the people, who are the people I'm around when I feel happy? What are the environments that I'm in when I tend to feel happy? What are the things that I'm doing, right? What are the things that I'm doing that actually make me feel happy? And can I create a life out of these things? Now, again, we live in a capitalist society and we all need to pay our bills. So on the road to that, it's necessary to have faith in our ability to create that caliber of a life for ourselves. And I will tell you now that we do live in a world of so much possibility. And even if things feel out of our reach, there's so many ways to hack out of that system. And all that we need to do is slip into a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset, right? That's something that's really key for us, is if we feel like, well, this is just the way things are and these are my options and this is the only thing that I'm able to do. Well, then of course, yeah, you're probably going to be pretty miserable. But if you can step into that growth mindset that essentially tells you, hey, I'll give you me as an example, right? For a long time, I knew I was a really good coach, but I knew I didn't know how to run a business. And there was a lot about running a business that really intimidated me. And if I were in a fixed mindset, I'd say, well, it sucks that I'm a great coach, but I don't know how to run a business, and people will never really appreciate me, and I won't figure out how to make an impact on the world that I want to make. I guess I'll just sit here and be smart and entitled and angry about it and be right, I'll just be right. I'll take my cold comfort in being right about the fact that I'm good at something, even though I don't know how to bring that out to the world. Or with a growth mindset, I can say, hey, I know that I'm a good coach. I know I'm good at helping people. I know that I'm good at inspiring people, and I don't know how to run a business right now. So what I need to do is I need to learn how to run a business. And in order to do that, that's the growth mindset part. That's where I'm looking at what is possible. And I say, okay, I just want to fill in the gaps of my knowledge here. And essentially creating a life that you can feel happier about involves looking at those gaps in knowledge between where you are now and where you want to be, with doing something that will sustain you and that already brings you that joy and that happiness, and sourcing that happiness from the confidence that you know how to move forward and take those individual steps along the path to be able to create that. And then you're going to start feeling that happiness before it even happens, because you're already going to have faith in it. You're going to say, well, of course this is going to work. I'm setting this intention, and I'm just, anywhere that things are not lining up in the way that I want them to be, I'm going to go in and I'm going to figure out what's out of alignment, and I'm going to correct that. And wherever I need to correct that, wherever I don't know how to correct that, I'm going to look and hire a professional who does know how to correct that. I'm going to make sure I hire someone good by making sure that I check out all their testimonials and I talk with people who have already worked with them. I'm going to hire someone that I really know I can trust. And then I'm going to learn that. If I can't afford to hire the person that I can really trust right now, well, there's a couple ways of doing that. I can either make a leap, and I can make a leap forward, and I can sign a contract, and as I continue to work with this person, I'll be able to grow in my business, and I'll be able to to pay them off what I owe them, and then once that's all settled, then I'll just be home free, and I'll be making that for myself. Or you can say, you know what, I can't afford that person right now, but hey, here's some extra ways, here's some extra things I could do to be able to afford them. Here's some things of mine that I'm willing to sell at a garage sale to raise some money. Here's I'm willing to take Sundays to batch cook all my meals and offer to my roommates, maybe, hey, I'll batch cook all your meals for you if you pay me this much per week or whatever. I'm going to make some extra money that way. I'm going to make some extra money by getting a side gig. Maybe I'm going to drive for Uber or Lyft for a little while and say, hey, you know what? The upside of the gig economy is I can control how much I work. I'm going to hustle a little extra. I'm just going to put in these many extra hours per week so that I can, even if I'm tired in the meantime, because I'm working more hours, I have faith that I'm going to be able to save up that money, and then I'm going to make that investment, and then I'm going to move forward again. So already, by saying, hey, here's the steps I'm going to take, and here's how I'm going to make this work, I've already empowered myself more. And there's so many different ways to do that. And when you start feeling that sense of like, yes, I can do this. It might take me a while. There might be a lot of steps to take. There might be a number of gaps that I need to fill in before I can get there, but I can already see it. I can already taste it. I can smell it. I'm breathing it in, my future where I do feel happy about the life that I have created for myself. In terms of your relationships, it's about that saying, like, I'm going to be done with anything that hurts me, with anything that feels toxic, with anything that doesn't feel like it's the thing. I'm going to stop staying in relationships that are hurting me, hoping that if I just treat this person better, that somehow everything will miraculously work out. I'm going to be ruthless about who I allow into my energy field, and I'm going to make sure that I hold to my standards, even if that means that I need to be single for a while. And also, if I'm going to be single for a while, that means I can work on creating a life that I love, which is going to attract a partner who fits into that life that I love, so that all these toxic people who keep showing up in this life that I kind of hate, that I've been living up to, like, thus far, that they're no longer, when I'm over here, those people are no longer going to be a fit for me. It's that idea of, it sounds simplistic and it sounds cheesy when you say, like, oh, your vibe attracts your tribe, or that your vibration, determines the people that you attract into your life. But in my own experience, it's true. When I start to concentrate on really doing the things that make me happy and really leaning into my self-care and setting myself up for a life of success, then I end up being friends with more and more people who are doing that. I can backwards engineer that too. I can say, you know what, I'm going to cut out of my life all the people who are, just going out and drinking and partying and escaping from their lives and not handling their shit. I'm just, you know what, I love you, but I love you over there, right? Like, I'm just that kindness and compassion to be like, you know what, I'm going to be over here taking care of my own vibration, and I'm going to purposefully surround myself with the people who are going to inspire me to get on that path. So when you do that and you get on that path, you don't even have to be at the place where it's completed to feel better about your life, because you have faith in the fact that you are moving forward and that you're going to be able to get there. And it's having that faith and that understanding of how you're going to fill in those gaps from between where you are now and where you want to be, and how to create that life doing something you love in a sustainable manner, that you're not going to have those stresses around you anymore, you know, that you're going to call in that financial abundance by knowing how to value yourself. Maybe you need someone else. You know, I hired a business coach purely to so that I wouldn't have the responsibility of setting my own prices. You know, I was like, I don't know, like, it's like, I'm like, I feel like so anxious about raising my rates, right? Or I feel anxious about, you know, I don't know how to value myself. So I finally told, you know, when I hired my coach, I was like, I don't want this responsibility. You tell me what my rates should be based on how valuable you think my work is, and what, you know, what people are going to be able to pay for it. And if anyone has a problem with it and says, oh, that's too high, I'll just be like, sorry, that's what my coach said to do. So I just, you know, I want to succeed, so I got to do what my coach tells me. So who knows, maybe that's still like a baby step toward really owning my self-worth, but that's fine. It's a baby step. It's me filling in that gap that's going to get me to that point. So once you start looking and lining up all of those steps forward and having faith that taking that step in that direction is going to create that concrete change, then I promise you're going to start feeling happier about your life already. And you don't even need to be at that end destination. You just need to be able to see the path in front of you and have confidence that you can get there. And that's going to help you feel a lot happier about your life. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you got something out of this. And if you have any questions about it, because I know that was a lot of information, if there's anything in there that I said that you want me to extrapolate on a little bit more, just leave me a comment, let me know, and I'll address it in another video. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.